Welcome! This series of videos are meant to teach about some cool stuff about science, specifically about physics, like some laws and effects in the real world. Ready? Let's begin. Our first lesson is about the Newton's laws of motion. There are three physical laws that were compiled by Isaac Newton at the year of 1689. Newton was an English astronomer, alchemist, natural philosopher, theologian, and scientist, better known as a physicist and mathematician. He was also responsible for the law of the universal gravitation when an apple supposedly fell from a tree on his head. So, let's begin with the first law, the law of inertia. This law implies that an object that isn't moving has a tendency to stay still unless some force is applied in that body. For example, a car that is stationary won't start to move unless a force is applied to it. It also says that an object that is moving with a certain velocity has a tendency to stay moving with the same speed unless other force is applied at the body. For example, if a boy riding a skateboard hits a rock, the skate will stop because of the collision, but the boy will continue to move with the same speed he had before. That's going to hurt, so kids always use safety gear. Moving on, the second law says that the summation of all the forces acting on an object is equal to a resulting force, most known as net force. That law also implies that the net force necessary to move an object with a certain acceleration is proportional to the mass of that object. For example, if you want to move a box with a certain acceleration, you will need a certain amount of force. But if you want to move a full fridge with the same acceleration, you will need a lot more force. Finally, the last law, the law of action and reaction. This law implies that a force doesn't exist by itself. In other words, every force applied by an object on another has force of the same type and same intensity applied to the initial object. For example, if someone punches a wall with a certain amount of force, a force of the same type and intensity will be applied in the person's hand. You got it. That's the same principle that is used by rocket engineering to lift up rockets to space. Thank you for your attention, and always remember, science has no limits.